What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for Spice and Wolf. This is also going to be a review for episodes 2 and 3 because we weren't able to get to it last week. But with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
hmm Um, I mean, overall, I I am liking this art style compared to the original series, back
Mm.
in 08 and '09 because like looking at this, it looks so much better night and day compared to the original because it's just the overall lighting, shading, and the character designs just give it a little bit more life, in terms of like in both Lawrence and Holo in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps that it's more faithful to the art of the light novels as opposed to
Mhm.
the original anime. Um, I mean, I like I said, I don't mind the art style of the original series, but I mean, it does come off as a bit dated if you were to watch it now.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to mention it was a little bit far from how they were supposed to look in the novels, which I think it's good that this sticks closer to the art style of the novels because I think hypothetically if they were to do a season 3, they would probably have changed the art style anyway,
Mhm.
probably to not only because it would be more up to modern standards, but just because that it was pretty. It did look pretty different from how they looked in the light novels.
Yeah. And not only that is, they brought them bringing back the original voice actors for not only the Japanese dub, but the English dub as well. So, like, Michael Tatum being brought back to voice Kraft Lawrence, and Brianna Palencia, being brought back to voice Holo again is also
Yeah.
a nice touch as well because, like, we have, like, actors on both different dubs that are familiar with their characters from way back when that'll likely transition well, for the newer version of the show.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that that this would that well, at least with the Japanese cast, that they were the original actors from the original anime. Um, but yeah, I think it's good that they got the original dub actors back too, because that was how I watched the original series, was in dub. So I mean, it's good that they're coming back and reprising their roles, since this is kind of technically like a remake of the series.
Yeah. So the two episodes in particular, um, I mean, for me who's watched the original series, it's more or less like I said, it's more or less like a rehash of like a lot of the past episodes. I mean, the initial 12 episodes, like, despite some of the minor changes in terms of certain characters, it does faithfully, like, follow the main plot line from the original anime.
Yeah. Um, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen the original series, so I feel like I remember certain things about what's been happening in these 2 episodes, but a lot of it has I've kind of forgotten about. Like I do remember Kraft Lawrence having these conversations with that one guy who's also, like, I think he's also a merchant,
Yeah.
where they're talking about like the value of currency and what I guess the going rate for is for some of the goods he's selling and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, what was it? Zarin is the guy that Lawrence is interacting with.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Like you said, like, Zarin is looking to trade these silver coins, which he claims that they have a very high value, until Lawrence and Holo, like, well, I actually Holo, like, in particular, senses that he is lying. You know, of him, like, explaining the value of these silver coins. Of course, they initially, like, hold off on the deal until they um, get to the next town over by the third episode. So, and of course, like, it showcases both Lawrence and Holo working together, um, like, trying different ways to sell, like, certain merchandise in a unique manner. Like, in particular, like, Holo, at the beginning of the episode, asks Lawrence to buy her, like, a bunch of apples, which she eventually does eat all of them. But of course, what happens is like she kind of uses it on the fly, uh, by selling, like, a bunch of fur to, like, a what was it? One of the people buying the fur at a at a higher price than normal,
Yeah.
by like saying that, that the fur smells like fruit, mainly because, the apples were like the bunch of apples were on top of the fur, and coming up with like I say like different like what was it?
Well,
I'm trying
she
to
basically makes up a story about that the fur was like it had naturally, I guess, has that smell or something.
yeah.
But also says that, yeah. So I mean, she does lie about that, but she also doesn't really. She asks him to take one of the fur pelts and try to tear it or something to, I guess, see how good the quality of the fur is for himself,
Mhm.
which wasn't really. I mean, that was at least true. But yeah, she tries to like haggle sort of, or try just to negotiate like selling them at a higher price because Lawrence originally was going to sell them uh, at like, I think, for 120 or something like that, and then she ends up negotiating to get them to be sold at like 200. I think it was Trini or something like that.
Yeah. So she eventually does end up being successful in convincing this buyer to get all this fur at a much higher price. I think it was like, 200 each, or 200 210 each piece. So yeah. So eventually they
I
do
thought I
end up
thought it was
meeting.
like 210 total because I think they said like it was like what, like three a piece or something, something like that. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah,
they do end up selling the furs at a much higher price, than originally like asked for. So later that day, they Lawrence and Holo end up meeting with Zarin again to finalize the deal with with the silver coins, and of course, um, as they suspected, some of the silver pieces that they gathered are not at the at the price that they expected it to be. So eventually, like they plan on they plan on meeting with somebody later to hopefully counter this scheme that Zarin just pretty much threw in at them.
yeah. And they introduced one of the other this other merchant character, um, who like I guess that was who they were talking making a or trying to make that deal with.
Hmm.
Um, and we find out like he tries to like flirt with Holo, and Lawrence says like he's like a womanizer. I do remember this character from the original series, or at least I remember this part. Um, but and I also remember them talking about like the value of different the different coins and how like it depends on whoever's ruling at the time.
Hmm. Yeah, and so I think that's I don't know what else happens in this episode, but I think that's mainly the gist of what happens in this episode. It's just it's a lot of like going back and forth of like how like marketing and the economy works uh
Yeah.
in various different places. But yeah, it's just but I guess one major plot point that's going on is like with Holo and Lawrence dealing with Zarin and of course the silver coins that he was selling earlier.
Yeah, a lot of it is just the economics of the world, and kind of like, so I guess slowly developing the relationship with Holo and Lawrence, and just kind of showing that Holo is able like uh is it able to kind of negotiate like Lawrence, because apparently, at least according to her, it's because she's observed one of the merchants that came to her village, and that's how she was, I guess, able to pick up on certain skills.
Mhm.
um so yeah, but yeah, these there are definitely slower episodes, but I think they're, the point of them is just to kind of, uh, kind of just show us more about like what Lawrence does, and to sort of slowly develop the relationship between Lawrence and Holo.
Yeah. You can immediately tell that they have a lot of chemistry with each other,
Yeah,
despite the fact that, like, Holo never really had an any initial expertise on marketing in general.
yeah. But yeah, I thought they were pretty decent episodes. But I don't really have too much else to say about them, though. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, considering the fact that I have watched the original series. I mean, like looking at this, it's night and day. It's I'd say visually it's a lot better than what the original anime uh was back in 2008 2009. Um,
Yeah.
but am I expecting anything new for for what I would say maybe the first core of the series? Not really, because it's more or less playing out the same way as the original it did. Until like maybe they reach a point in this anime which will adapt like a part of the manga that was not properly adapted in the original series.
Yeah, you mean the light novels, but
Yeah,
yeah.
the light novels. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the only differences I'm expecting is there to be like certain scenes that we didn't see in the original series, and maybe some characters that show up that weren't in the original. But yeah, I mean, mostly probably minor differences. We probably won't see any like real major differences until they get to uh, probably around where like season two from the original series, because I think I heard there was a lot of filler in there. So we might see a lot of differences when we get to that. Because I think they did say this is going to be like a full like 20 some episode season.
yeah,
So they're probably going to cover that material. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I'm interested to see what the differences are there.
yeah. I I mean, like I said, it's more or less reintroducing us to to this world. I've mentioned this a couple weeks ago that this show is mainly aimed towards people who haven't watched the series yet. And of course they're reintroducing us, introducing us, to the main characters, as well as some of the characters who appeared in the original anime. I think one of the characters I think was Nora, who was like the what was it the one of the shepherds that that Holo and Lawrence end up meeting much later on in the show.
Yeah. But yeah, guys. So that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.